everyone. Welcome to Woolen Spinning. My name is Rachel. It is episode 209, and we are going to be continuing with our spinning the sheep breeds kit from School of Sweet Georgia. And today we are going to be looking at this gray Suffolk. And we're also going to clear up a little bit of sort of information about this wool, because Suffolk is always white. So we'll just chat a little bit about this when we get on the wheel. I started a new knit, and so we'll talk about that. And then we'll go into community participation because Tour de Fleece finished last weekend, which is really exciting. So we've got lots of Tour de Fleece sort of projects that are finished up, and I did get the video of the Slack channel of all the stuff that was posted. So I hope that will you guys will enjoy that because it's actually quite long. We started a minute early today because it is James's birthday. He is turning the big 9 last year of single digits. It's amazing. And we have a big day planned for him. So it's going to be kind of a little bit of a crazy weekend, but it'll be really fun to celebrate with him. My mom's coming and we're going to take him out. So lots of exciting things. So Mike and I have been up since quite early. So kind of running a little bit on adrenaline. I hope that you guys are really, really well. I hope that this finds you all very well. This is Saturday morning. It is July 24th of 2021. Welcome to new viewers of the show. I hope that you find something here that you enjoy and that you like. We talk mostly about knitting and knitting with hand spun and spinning the yarns that you want to create. So that's why our tagline, if you will, is for the love of yarn, for the love of fiber. Kind of like for the love of, that's sort of what that's meant to be. So for the love of all that is good, you know, that kind of so for the love of fiber, where the place where fiber becomes yarn. To returning viewers, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you continuing to check out the show week after week. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for continuing to watch the show, and you can support the show by clicking like and by subscribing. Welcome to everybody who's in the chat. So if you want to be a part of the live chat every week and you want to be a part of sort of what goes on here, please check out patreon.com/woolenspinning. So I have changed it. It used to be /wellforpearls. It is /woolenspinning. I've just been very slowly rebranding everything so that everything is woolen spinning. It just makes it simple. It means you don't have to remember anything. You don't have to remember any weird spelling. You just have to remember woolen spinning, and that's why you're all here, is to spin and to enjoy spinning. So patreon.com/woolenspinning. I'm even going to have to retrain myself because I'm so used to saying it the old way. So patreon.com/woolenspinning, and I did post something in the Slack channel, but if you're confused and you're not sure where to go, it's patreon.com/woolenspinning. I had a really interesting question after last week's show about the different tiers on Patreon. And my friend Jenny had a really good point. When you're looking at the tiers, I've been slowly simplifying them. And one of the things that you can do is, as you're going through and looking at what the different tiers offer you, is when you're looking at the tiers, write down what speaks to you and what you think that you would like to have for content. So if you want to have the How I Spin vlogs, for example, but you don't really mind if you have a PDF download or not of the transcript with all the extra photos and whatnot, then write down How I Spin vlog, and then, you know, keep a list and look at sort of all the different things. You know, Woolen Spinning Radio, you want the second audio podcast, etc. Then you can decide which tier is the right one for you by just keeping a list and sort of looking at and comparing the different tiers and what on your list is what you want. If you know that you want the monthly teaching content, then you need to be at least $3 a month, for example. So just maybe that'll help people as they navigate. I am slowly simplifying them, but you know, it takes time, and you know, I have to think about what I want to let go of and what I don't want to let go of. So that's always hard. Thank you so much, everyone in the live chat, for the birthday wishes for James. I really appreciate that. I was going to say, if you want to be a part of the live chat every week, you just need to hop on over to Patreon, and even just $1 a month will get you access to the live stream. So thank you everyone for being here. Michelle's sharing unusual event of the week. A yearling bear stopped traffic as I drove to my book group on Thursday. Why does a bear cross the street? One of two reasons, Michelle: to eat or to reproduce. That's why animals do everything that they do. Welcome to everybody else. There's Julie and Sarah. Ruth is here. Kaylee, Amanda, Julia. Zan is here. Our other Michelle, Leah, Mary Jo, Dana, Greta Lynn, San. I'm not even going to be able to catch everybody. Ashley, Becca, Elaine, Eva, Eve, Diana. Welcome everybody. I can't even read all of the names. I'm sure I've missed a whole bunch of people. There's Nathalie, Josie. Yeah, thank you so much everyone for being here this morning. So let's get on the wheel and we'll spin up this gray Suffolk, and we'll just run the intro credits, and then we'll talk a little bit about something that I'm working on that I started just actually because I didn't want to work on my enchanté anymore. I just needed a little bit of a lace break, and then we'll do community participation. So I'll see you guys on the other side. Diana is so kind. She's reminding me to tell everybody to hit the like button. I'm so bad about asking people to like and subscribe, so please hit the like button. I appreciate that. And we need to say a happy birthday to Eva. Is it Eva or no, sorry, Elaine. To Elaine. It's her 60th birthday today. So happy birthday, Elaine. What a good day to have a birthday. That's awesome. Julie got her Jacob, which is our current breed and color study, in the mail, which is wonderful. And Holly's here because she got her farm chores done. Happy to see the live stream. Welcome, Holly. That's great. So let's talk about we've pivoted now. We've done for the Spinning Sheep Breeds workshop on the School of Sweet Georgia. We've spun through our 3 fine to medium wools, and then we spun through our 3 long wools. And actually, I left my Gotland back there, but it turned out absolutely beautifully. I am so happy with it. So I will grab it and show it to you next show. I meant to grab it during the credits and I totally forgot. So we will do that next show. We'll look at the Gotland. I love how the yarn came out. And then now we've done all of those. We've done the fine to mediums, we've done the long wools, and now we're pivoting into the downs. So the first one that I thought we would tackle is the gray. They've included in this gray Suffolk. So it's 2 ounces gray Suffolk. And who was it in our community? I think it was Rachel. She got in touch with me to let me know that she's pretty sure that the grey Suffolk is actually just from the county of Suffolk in the UK. This is not actually Suffolk wool. So this is probably sort of a bit of a Heinz 57. It's something that kind of comes from that area rather than being actually Suffolk, because Suffolk, true Suffolk, 100% Suffolk wool is always white. So I talked to Felicia and Greta about that, and the nice thing about this is it's sort of a bit humbuggy. It's got some different colors in it. It's a bit heathered. You can see that from the light here. There's sort of some fawny gray browns, some white in here. It sort of looks like it's a little bit of a Heinz 57, a little bit of a not quite humbuggy like the Rideau Arcot that we were spinning yesterday in the wool circle. This is a little bit more humbuggy, where you can see the darker colors of the fleece, you can see the white, and as I've been spinning it, you actually get these sections that are all white or all black or all dark gray, and the bobbin has come up just incredibly heathered gray. It's just going to make the most beautiful yarn. I'm really excited about it. So this is the first 2 ounces of the Rideau Arcot, and then this is the other 2 ounces that I still need to spin. This has been such a fast spin, and the reason for that is because I'm spinning long draw. It doesn't need a lot of twist. I'm only treadling about 2 or 3 times on 28 to 1. and then it goes on to the bobbin. So 1, 2, 3 on, 1, 2, 3 on. Like, it's so fast. So in about an hour and a half of spinning, maybe 2 hours, but that would be like generous at best. This is the first 2 ounces done. So I'll have this done hopefully early next week. I'll work on it in virtual spin group, and I'll hopefully be able to finish that second ounce, those second 2 ounces. So what we're going to do with this gray Suffolk is we're just going to divide it down. And what we're going to do is next week, I have a ton of Suffolk in my stash, and I had bought it from my friend Margaret, who raises Suffolks. I'm not sure if she still raises them, actually. Diana, maybe, because I know that they went through some life changes. Her husband passed away, and I'm not sure if she's still doing her Suffolk farming, but I had bought some of her Suffolk roving from her. It is in the garage in one of my bins with cedar in the bottom of it to protect it and to keep it nice. And I thought what we would do is actually spin some 100% Suffolk next week. So we'll kind of pause on our spinning sheep breeds from the kit, and we'll actually look at some 100% Suffolk. So I'm just going to take this, I'm going to gently pre-draft it. There is Kemp in this. I wish if we were filming in 4K, you'd be able to see the Kemp in this, but maybe you can, if I hold my hand back here, you might be able to see against the black of my band there on my whoop. There's some Kempy, all these little like stiff fibers that are sticking out. That's all Kemp. It's all white. And there's one there. I don't know if you guys can see that. If I put it on the back of my whoop, you'll be able to see it. So that's Kemp right there. That's the Kempy fibers. So there is a lot of Kemp in this. The thing is, we've talked about Kemp before. A lot of Kemp will fall out in the spinning, and a lot of it will fall out in the washing, and even more of it will fall out in the knitting. So as you're working with Kempy fibers, the thing is that oftentimes you can pick up wool for quite a bit less cost. You know, if you see something like years ago, I had bought something off of, I don't know if it was World of Wool or if it was something else. I can't remember where I had gotten it from, but it was Jacob. I've talked about this before. It was chock full of Kemp. And I talked to Diana about it because I was just coming back to spinning and sort of relearning a lot of the things that I had forgotten. And, you know, at that point, I didn't know what I didn't know, and I really only knew how to spin singles. I could spin bobbins full of beautiful singles, and but I didn't know what to do with them, and I certainly didn't know how to ply. And I remember asking her, like, I've got this Jacob, it's chock full of Kemp. Like, what are these fibers? And we had a good chat about it, and she's like, honestly, those will fall out, like, and you're gonna be left with just an absolutely beautiful yarn. And sure enough, she was absolutely right. I gifted some of it to Eric, Katrina's husband, and he knit up a toque, and like you couldn't even see the Kemp. I gave him just a little bit of it, and yeah, it was all there. Oh, so she does still have sheep, and she's still producing and selling the woolen roving as she's able to. Oh, that's wonderful, Diana. I'm glad to hear that. I'm sort of out of touch with everybody from Guild right now because of just the way that this past year has been, and I took a leave from the executive for the past year just with everything going on at work. So I'm looking forward to getting involved again next year. And one of our friends in Guild is having a big spin in. Is it not next? No, it's not next Saturday. It's Saturday after. It's in August. Anyways, I've got it on my calendar, and I'm really hoping that I can go and catch up with everybody and see everybody. So Nathalie says her brother raises a small flock of Suffolk. She has so much of it to work through. Oh my goodness, Nathalie. Well, you have an entire community who will take some of it off your hands for you. So Dana says the Rideau Arcot is gorgeous. Yes, can't wait to see the finished yarn. I'm really surprised at how much I am enjoying that spin. I'm really, really surprised. What I did before the show was I actually took these 4 ounces and I divided them in half. So I took the entire sort of braid of the 2 ounces, and I folded it in half, and then I ripped it in half. And I never mentioned that because I was sitting here pre-drafting and just really, and I love pre-drafting. I could sit there all day and do that. It would be no challenge for me to do that. So let me just put on my spinning apron, and we'll pivot to the wheel. And I've got my Magic-Craft Susie today, and actually I have it set up for the Rideau Arcot. So we're sort of we may have to go down on ratios a little bit. So we'll sort of see how it goes, and we'll kind of play around with what works. So we'll see how it goes. It's August 7th. Thank you, Diana. Yeah, I was pretty sure it was the 7th, but then I was second guessing myself. I have it on the calendar. I'm really hoping to be able to go because then we're away the rest of August. So it actually worked out that was one of the couple of Saturdays that we're actually home. So I have spun some oatmeal Suffolk before, and while it was lovely, it didn't feel terribly down-like. I've never spun actual Suffolk, but I'm just assuming it's down-like. It's very down-like. So this doesn't feel, once I'm spinning it, this feels like a medium wool. This is actually a really nice pivot from the mediums into the downs, because this does not feel at all downy. This is not spinning downy at all. This is spinning like a medium wool. This would be really easy to overspin because you would end up with just way too much twist in it, and it would actually ruin the wool, which would be really too bad. So I kind of immediately defaulted to a continuous back, but I need to slow my feet down a little bit here and just sort of go a bit easier. And I already dropped the ratio down by 1. So it's down to 20 to 1. Because remember, I'm quite a slow treadler, but you know, sometimes I treadle a bit faster if I'm feeling a little bit amped or a little bit wound up or a little bit stressed or tense. So let's see if we can control this a little bit. So if I go, that's 6 drafts back, and it's sort of like a half draft because it's not very long stapled. I can feel that the staples are quite short. This is not a very long stapled fiber. Sort of a couple of inches there. The light coming in is very bright, and you could see the Kemp in there. So let's see if we spin. If we go over 20 inches, let's just see if we can get a really nice medium yarn. So where is 20 inches? 20 inches is about to my hip. It's about here. So let's see. It's nice having my weaving stuff right here because I always have a measuring tape. So let's see what we can do with that. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on. So that's 6 drafts. 6 drafts at 20 wraps per inch. So I've lost that really nice firm ply back test. So let's go back up and we'll do the same thing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this feels overspun, but when you do the ply back test, that just makes the best yarn. Let's see if I can zoom in there for you guys. Look at that yarn. That is fantastic. So it feels, the singles feel quite hard and they feel quite heavy. And they feel like a little bit overspun, but that ply back test is something to be desired. Yeah, the Rideau Arcot, Josie, is The one from the Long Way Homestead. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So that is that ply back test. Look at that. That would be an absolutely perfect sweater yarn. I really like that. And it's soft. It's got a nice hand to it. It's got a nice drape. And yet, in the singles, as I was spinning, it felt very, very hard. And it felt very, oh, I'm all tangled here. Sorry, guys. It felt very, very overspun. Five, six. Six. I'm going to do that one more time. 1, 2. Oh, let me zoom out again. Sorry, guys. 3, 4, 5, and 6. And 6. Okay, let's see what the 3-ply looks like. All right, so with the 3-ply, you wrap from the orifice. Oh, sweater yarn, my friends, sweater yarn. This is a very surprising wool. I am kind of loving it. Look at that. That would be a phenomenal sweater yarn. Just absolutely phenomenal. This is about, I would say 9 wraps per inch, maybe 8. So I would, yeah, probably 8. So Aran weight, I would probably want to spin a little bit finer. Yeah, 8, no, it's probably about 9. So Aran weight, worsted weight. I got a couple of messages this past week about sending you guys some twist angle cards. I will get those in the mail for you guys. The wraps per inch tools are from Sukaplocky, not from me. But the card, my business cards, I can absolutely send you guys. So yeah, this 3-ply has a beautiful twist angle. It's about 38 degrees, but look at the firmness of that. It's just shy of 40. Let me just drop this down. But like, look at that, just beautiful. And this is the 2-ply next to it. I actually prefer the 2-ply, but that's just because I really like that gauge of yarn. I really like that weight of yarn. That's probably more of like a 14 wraps per inch yarn. And in this, it's just made this absolutely gorgeous 2-ply. Oh yeah, there you go, 14 wraps per inch, my default. It's like I can do it with my eyes closed. It's always 14 wraps per inch. 14 is my favorite number, so that might be part of it. But man, that is just gorgeous yarn. So if we go back to, let's just do a quick comparison here because we've got time. Let's go back to the 6 treadles over 20 inches. So of the higher ratio, sorry, lower ratio. 5, 6. And remember how it was a bit more, it was a bit under twisted? 4, 5, 6. So we'll just do a quick comparison. Okay, so that is 20 to 1 instead of 28 to 1. But the same number of drafts. A little bit lower twist, not as firm. This doesn't scream sweater yarn to me, but it definitely would be great for mitts, a toque, cowl. It's a little bit underspun for a sweater yarn to be able to stand up. But look at the difference between those 2 yarns. So this one is our 2-ply that I was so taken with, and this one is our slightly lower twist. If I put them on the back, it's so light colored. If I put them on a darker back, maybe you guys will be able to see how different they are. They're very different. So look at that twist angle. So the twist angle is a little bit gentler. Up there, a little bit tighter. This twist angle, you're kind of looking more at like 35 degrees. This one, you're looking at more like 40, probably a little bit over 44, probably like 43, not quite 45 degrees, probably more like 42, 43. Very different yarns. So then if we, actually that's not true. They're not very different, but they are different. So then if we go down one more time, down to about 15 to 1, let's do that experiment one more time, and we'll do the same number of drafts, same number of treadles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5. 6. I've got lots and lots of questions here, so I will answer them in just a quick sec. See, and then this is different again. I love this. I love going through this type of sampling. When you're thinking about trying to put, when master spinners or other people say put your wheel through the paces, this is what they're talking about. You know, going through and spinning all these different yarns the same way and seeing how the different ratios affect your yarns. So this is even more low twist. So look at the light, fluffy, plumpy. It looks almost kind of like it was woolen spun. And then when you put the one that we just did at 20, so this is 15 to 1, and then this one is 20 to 1, so a little bit different. And this was our 28 to 1, 27 to 1, whatever that ratio is. So very different yarns. This is much more tightly spun. This is a little bit less, and this is even more so. So if we went down again, we'd have an even softer yarn and then an even softer yarn. I could go 2 more on this ratio if I wanted to. So we're spinning exactly the same way for each sample, trying to get the same thickness or grist of our singles. And then when we do that plyback test, it's very, very different. So people will often, and I talk about this as well, spin a low twist singles, but then ply it high. And that's how you get those really light, lofty, plumpy yarns where you've got lots and lots of air in the singles, and you can tighten up that ply twist like there. And you've got these sort of almost sort of, I kind of call them like pseudo woolen yarns because you're preserving a lot of the air, but you're tightening up the ply twist. The problem that I have found with some of my yarns where I have done that and where I've spun that in the finished, for the finished sweater, is that they tend to pill. So that has been my experience, and I'm actually really looking forward to spinning the rest of this, and I will spin it the way of that first 2-ply sample. So six treadles for on the 27 to 1. So let me just answer questions. And yeah, would the 2-ply with less twist be nice for a shawl? Absolutely. So maybe if I was thinking a shawl, I would go for the second 2-ply sample. If you go for a third 2-ply sample, sorry, for a fourth 2-ply sample on the, I think I've only got 4 ratios, sorry. So it goes 15 to 1 and it goes down to 12 to 1. I think if we had done one more 2-ply sample with the 12 to 1, I suspect that it would have ended up being quite low twist. So that's where you're getting into sort of yarns that are a little bit unstable. But I think that second one at 20 to 1, that ratio of 20 to 1, I think that would be just an absolutely beautiful shawl yarn. So yeah, that would just be ideal. I'm trying to keep these in order so that I can remember for later when I put them on the card. What other questions do you guys have? All right. You guys always have great questions. It is from Long Way Homestead, that Rideau Arcot. And it looks like Josie's got some. She's got 2 ounces of it. That's awesome. Awesome business card. Thank you so much, Ashley. I had them made. I'm going to have to get them redone because we've changed the patreon.com. It's not /well4pearls anymore. It's /woolen spinning. So I'm going to have to change them. But that's okay because they're keepable because of the back. So this is really, really helpful for people. I will try to remember the stamps, Eve. Yes, I sent a bunch of stuff out quite a number of months ago now, and I forgot all of the stamps. 2 of the 3 came back. The third one was delivered to the UK with no stamp. So thank you to Royal Mail. I remember when gray Suffolk fiber started showing up everywhere. It's a really great medium kind of fiber, but definitely doesn't behave like a down. That's certainly my experience sitting here and spinning. So next week we will spin some true Suffolk to actually explore Suffolk. Which sample would you suggest weaving with? The first 2-ply, the firm one. And I would maybe even up-ply a tiny bit just to kind of see. I would play around with some sampling with that for sure. Ashley, great question. So, welcome Linnea, it's good to see you. So one of the things, so I talked about my Rideau Arcot. The other thing that I've been working on is trying to stash dive. So one of the things that I have talked about on the show is trying to have one commercial knit on the needles and one handspun knit on the needles. And I have to admit, I am sort of a monogamous knitter. I don't tend to have multiple projects, which you guys have probably noticed. That's why I would be a terrible knitting podcast host, because part of what makes a knitting podcast work is that you've got many projects to talk about and compare and contrast and lots of different yarns that you're working with, and I have one, maybe two. So I just finished my Magnolia Bloom out of stash yarn, and now I've got this. This is old stash. This was from Fibers West years ago, like 2016, I want to say, maybe even 2015. And this is some 100% BFL yarn. It's a 2-ply. Actually, it might be a 3-ply. It's a 3-ply. And it was dyed up. It was like a one batch kind of mega skein that was a pound. It was about 1,200 yards of yarn, and it was dyed by my friend Lynn of West Coast Color, and it was just this random skein that was hanging there, and I just fell in love. And I think it was like $20. So she was just getting up and running. She was just getting her name out there. And this thing has been knit, this yarn has been knit into so many different articles of clothing, and it always gets ripped out. It's never good enough. I never like it, blah, blah, blah. And I think part of it is it's a sport weight. It's a difficult gauge. It has some darker colors in it, but then it also has these hits. And this is actually what drew me to it. It has these hits of like this tealy bright blue. So I decided to just take the plunge. I skeined it all up, washed it, because you can see it's a bit kinky from previous knits. And I had enough yardage, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to cast on for a sweater that I really regretted throwing in the donation pile quite a few years ago. As soon as it went into the box, I regretted it. And it's an oldie, but it's a goodie, the Larch Cardigan by Amy Christophers, I'm not sure how you say her last name. Anyways, this was one of those knits that I just loved. I printed this pattern off back in whenever it was published, 2010, knit it right away and wore that thing. And then I donated it, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I was in the midst of having kids and it was tight and I felt like it would never fit again. Like, I have no idea what was going on in my head. So it would fit beautifully now. So super regret letting it go. And I'm actually, unfortunately, in the middle of a row, but I'm about 13 inches into the body. So you cast on twisted rib at the bottom hem, and then you knit up, working the decreases to create that beautiful A line. And actually, this is her patterns. I never have to adjust them. They always just fit me. I don't know what it is about her shape or about the way that she does her grading. They just fit me. And so I had made notes on here from previous about what I had done. And the funny thing is that the gauge that I got last time is the same gauge that I got this time. So I'm just following what I did last time. And I'm going for the size 2, so the 35-inch bust. And because my gauge is a little bit off, just like it was last time, it'll be a 37-inch hip, which is perfect for me. And then it'll go up to the 35. So it'll be, hopefully, like my other one, it'll fit just like my other one did. So I think when you're in the midst of having kids and your body is changing and your shape is changing and you're gaining and losing weight over a relatively short period of time, it can be really hard. And so now that I'm kind of through all of that, the kids are older. I'm pretty stable. We're not planning on having any more kids. With sort of 3 to 5 inches of positive ease, I think this will be something that I'll wear for quite a number of years. So that is that. Yeah, that's true, Holly. She says that's how you finish things. That's actually really true. That is one of the reasons why I do get sweaters done. I usually only have one or two on the needles at the time. And it's funny because when we go on our big trips up north and we have like 10-hour driving days, I only work on one thing. I might work on a second thing just if I get kind of bored of stockinette stitch or something, or if my hand starts to hurt. But that's one of the ways that I finish 2 or 3 sweaters when we're gone, is I'll only work on that sweater for 3 or 4 days and then it's done. And then I go to the next sweater and I work on that for 3 or 4 days and then the next one. And it's kind of funny. And then usually by the end, I don't want to knit anymore. It's like, enough knitting. I don't want to knit. So I'm going to bring my support spindles this time. Can I ask, Maria has a great question. Can I ask how you work out how many treadles to do? I rarely count treadles, only sometimes when I'm plying. So today what we did for counting treadles was just random, based on sort of how I had done that initial sampling and getting an idea of how many treadles I was needing to create a structurally sound yarn. What I will sometimes do is go back to the crimps per inch, and then I will break down like we did for Romney. So go back and watch that episode if you want to know more. I'll work out how many twists I want to end up with, and then I'll work backwards. Today it was just random, based on sort of my initial spinning and what felt right. To be honest, for the most part with the medium wools, I'm somewhere between 4 and 7 treadles. That generally is sort of where I sit. There's just not that much variation in these wools. They might feel different, they might look different, they might have different shades, they might be from a different animal, from a different part of the world, but you know, for the most part, I spin so many medium yarns that I kind of know somewhere between 4 and 7 treadles over 20 inches is usually about right to create the yarns that I want. Oh yes, Allison, we're still here. We're always here. Let's see. Oh, Julia did the same thing. I just did a similar thing recently, as I didn't like the fit of many of my old sweaters anymore. It's tough, right? You know, you start having kids and my shape changed significantly after having kids. And, we could go into a whole thing about that. And it just takes time. And I wish I had held on to some of those old sweaters and made that decision now. But that's okay. It just means that I have to remake them. Saving money on buying new patterns, right? So, well, that's the thing, Jennifer, aging too, that's all part of it, right? Because I started having kids 10 years ago. So, you know, 10 years is a long time in terms of your body shape, and your body goes through lots of changes. So, you know, add another 20, 30, 40 years. And then, yeah, you're just, especially for women with estrogen, it's definitely a big change. Donating woolens without a tag. I try to throw a tag on if I can, or I try to throw on, I don't have one sitting right here, but I'll try to throw on like a tag that has the that you can remove, that has the washing instructions. Like it'll say 100% wool, hand wash, lay flat to dry. I'll actually put that like on I don't have one of my little tags right here, but it's not necessarily sewn into the garment. It's just like a paper tag hanging off. I try to do that. So yeah. A freshen up version of an old favorite. Totally, Jenny. Absolutely. All right, let's go into our community participation, because I am very aware of the time today, because unfortunately we have a bit of a drive to do after this. So I will be working on my Larch cardigan, if anybody is wondering, as we make our drive out to a little bit further out into the valley. So let's get into community participation. So I grabbed my Gotland while the credits were rolling. So this is the Gotland here. And you can see just that unbelievable sheen. It just came out absolutely beautifully. Lovely twist angle, a little bit finer than my Spunky Eclectic was spun. And I think the reason why I was able to spin it a little bit thinner was because I was on the wheel versus on spindles. So getting that twist up into the Gotland wasn't quite as big a deal on the wheel versus on my spindles. I think if I had used a slightly lighter weight spindle, so that I was able to get that twist up into it a little bit quicker, rather than like a Turtle Made that's 35 grams, maybe a spindle that was like 25 grams or even maybe 23, would have worked better for that Spunky Eclectic because it's a little bit thickly spun for what I wanted. But this Gotland just, I just absolutely love it. And this would be amazing for a sweater yarn. A 2-ply, it would have a little bit of a halo. It would be really structurally sound. You could even bump this up to a 3-ply to make it would be a little bit denser. It'd be a little bit heavier, but this yarn came out really beautifully. So we'll talk about that some more when we do our big reflection of all of the yarns, and I'll take some photos of all of them and so on and so forth. So Tour de Fleece finished off on Sunday, July 18th. So that was last week. And I wanted to share with you guys a huge montage that goes through quite a few minutes of all of the spinning that was done over those 3 weeks. And it was just really, really phenomenal to see all of that spinning. We didn't do prizes and stuff this year. I guess I kind of missed the boat a little bit on that, but we've got Spin Together coming up, and we've got our Spindle Spun Summer, and it's been nice to see Spindle Spun Summer kind of pick up the pace again now that Tour de Fleece is over. So that's been really neat to see. For July, because it was the month of Tour de Fleece, tell us in the Ravelry episode thread, which is here. I will link that for you guys in the chat. And it's also in the show notes at patreon.com/woolenspinning. And you can also comment here on YouTube. I had asked you guys what your goals were for this year, but if you haven't entered yet, and the prize this year is just down over there, I'll grab it in just a sec. Tell us how it went. Tell us what your experience was of Tour de Fleece this year, and if you met your goals or not. And what I'll be sending out for July is a little sampler pack of the fibers that are being spun for How I Spin and Spinning Pearls as we work through July, August, and September with our camelids study. So these are all different combinations of yak and camel and alpaca and wool and South African and lots of different stuff. So June and July will go out this week. I tried to get them mailed this past week, but just kind of ran out of time, to be honest. So we'll get that done this week. So without further ado, here is all of the Tour de Fleece spinning. I would just like to say that the incredible skill and time and patience that something like that shows in our community it's just to be congratulated. You guys are amazing. Incredible spinning. People are commenting it's like a happy rainbow. Love this montage of color and natural shades. So very inspiring. Congratulations to everyone who participated. This is amazing. Such a great variety of spindles and wheels. Lovely. And it just keeps going. The delicious rolags and bats and rovings. It's fun seeing everyone's spins and split and mine. Pure joy, so much play. Wow, what an amazingly creative and prolific community. Absolutely, Kathleen. So thank you to everybody who shared so much. There's also a ton in the Ravelry thread as well. I just don't like posting videos of Ravelry on here because I know that Ravelry is triggering for some people in terms of disability and whatnot. So I'm not comfortable sharing that. But on the Slack channel, it's really fun. So, and I keep the Slack channel quite a dark theme. So hopefully it's okay for people. So really a lot of fun, and thank you so much everybody for sharing all their stuff. So let's do a couple of spotlights. This is from Diane from Tour de Fleece. I just love this yarn. Tour de Fleece was my first gradient and it was fun to make. So that's from Diane, just absolutely beautiful. Gorgeous colors, and this is her carding up all of her little roll legs from the drum carder. The original fiber, and then her spinning. Gorgeous Diane. And she's spinning on a little Spinolution polywog, which I sold mine. And I kind of regret it because Nora probably would use it now. So this is from Kath. She did a ton of spinning. Tour de Fleece singles finished, 450 grams of hand-combed Shetland Romney from Fernhill Farms. I'll wind each 25 grams off onto storage bobbins and mix them up for plying. Beautiful, Kath. Absolutely gorgeous. Let's see, what else do we have here? This is from Nicole. Final bobbin of 3-ply done. The final or middle bobbin looks a little skimpy. I hate that when that happens, hey Nicole. But I figured I can always chain ply any leftovers. I'm planning on plying tomorrow for an overnight rest. Nice, beautiful. That often happens to me with my sweater spins, and I just try to sort of maximize if I can. And you can always do, if you want to keep with the traditional 3-ply, you can always do a center pull ball from whatever bobbin is left, and then with one of the other bobbins that's left, so that you still get that 3-ply. It's a bit tricky, kind of have to manage a bunch of stuff, but it's not unheard of. This is from Charlotte. I love this photo. It's so much fun. Approximately 500 grams of Shetland. Tomorrow during the live stream, I will be rewinding and setting up to ply. It has been fun to see the 2 bins empty out just in time for a new fleece. And I think she's been working on her new fleece actually. So that's from Charlotte. Thank you. Eve would like to send something to Crystal for her Morse code yarn. You're going to have to get in touch with Crystal. I still think that was one of the best yarns that was spun. That was really fun. I think my favorite yarn in the whole Tour de Fleece was Crystal's Morse code. I liked what she put into the Morse code. I thought that was really clever. Doing Tour de Fleece with others is always more fun than even the yarn itself. I totally agree, Becca. Welcome, Samantha. You don't have to apologize for being late. We're here. We would love you to join. This is from Amanda. Day 21, the rest of the Swedish Lister got carded up and spun into singles today. Rest overnight and then ply tomorrow, then the finish line. Amazing. So Spindle Spun Summer is something that's going on throughout the year, and I will link it for you guys so that you can check it out. This is going on until the autumnal equinox. And we've got lots of spindle spinning happening in the community. This is from Carissa. Who's local to me actually, and I always get to see her at all the shows. So much plying tonight. The red one was spun on the wheel before Spindle Spun Summer started, but I needed to get it off. I didn't have any weights, have my weights perfect, so I ran out of one bobbin first and joined the other 2 and finished it chain ply. So that's the little red one over there. The really large hank was all spindle spun. I got my poor wheel to the point it couldn't take any more. Wanting to preserve the 3-ply fractal, I put it on my ball winder first, then the nitty naughty. After this, I'll start learning how to use a Russian support spindle. And those are beautiful singles there, Carissa. Really gorgeous spinning. Really well done. This is from Mary Jo. You probably can't tell from this photo, but we are getting some much needed rain, so I'm hanging out under the canopy on the deck while I spin a bit. Gorgeous. Josie was asking if I've tried support spindling. Yes, I have several support spindles. Actually, I have about 5. It's just not my go-to way of spindling. I always feel that pressure of time, to be totally honest, and that's something that I would like to do more of in the future. I just haven't made it a priority. Yeah. This is from Julia for Luxury Fibers Along. So our Luxury Fibers Along is going on throughout the year. We're looking at luxury in all of our teaching content, whether it's spinning pearls or how I spin. And Julia shares, I just finished plying some singles I got from a woman in my local spinning group. The larger skein is black alpaca silk plied with wool silk, and the smaller is the wool blend plied on itself. Beautiful spinning. It'll be interesting to see what that black alpaca silk, how it washes and what it looks like in the finished yarn, because the wool will poof a little bit. Gorgeous spinning, Julia. All right, this is Natural Shades Along. We got lots of different stuff this week, which is really, really fun. Natural Shades Along is a celebration of all fibers naturally colored. And this again is going on all year in our community. This is from Liz. Just finished spinning 1.5 pounds of Gotland into a 2-ply. Amazing. Now what to make with it? Possibly a rectangular wrap. That just looks beautiful, Liz. Amazing. I was wondering if you have enough for a sweater, or if you could put a different color with it for a colorwork yoke, and then if you would have enough for the rest of the sweater. It just looks amazing. I think that was spun from a fleece, if my memory serves. I might be wrong about that, though. This is from Samantha. Just keep plying, just keep plying. Absolutely. It's taken me so long to do, and I haven't even got to the end of my singles, but I'm so pleased with it so far. Now to leave a few days to rest, then skein and set. This is a Romney Shetland from Fernhill Farm. There's quite a few people who've been spinning their fleeces from Fernhill Farm. I have kept some fiber aside to try dyeing, then I hope to dye this yarn and maybe weave with it. Beautiful, amazing. Gorgeous, Samantha. Yeah, spindling is definitely much slower than wheel spinning. Yeah, I think it's spindle spinning is I don't like that it always gets compared to wheel spinning. I don't think it's fair. I just really I really love spinning on my wheels, but I also really enjoy spindles. So it's just finding that balance, right? This is from Hannah. Finished her Perry Leaves jumper, knit with her, I'm going to butcher this, so I will try, but it's her Gras Tronder spin. So this is local wool to Hannah. Made quite a few modifications throughout the project, different yarn weight resulting in different gauge, and both for the stitch count and the row gauge. So most significantly for the neckline, where she added more rows, she also made an I-cord bind off. So that was for the neckline there. Which was not in the pattern. In addition, she shortened the body to fit her frame and made the sleeve length, the sleeves full length, because I think in the pattern they're only 3/4 length, if my memory serves. This is a sweater that I would really like to make. I'm waiting for the pattern to be individually published instead of in the Shetland Wool Week compendium. Added a few short rows to the top sleeve for a better fit, as the body has less ease than recommended in the pattern. It was cold enough this evening so I could wear it. It looks amazing on you, Hannah. Well done. Beautiful. And we kind of chronicled Hannah's spinning journey with this, and now we see the finished sweater. Amazing. This is from Diane. This is our sample spinning and play. So the creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct. This is from Carl Jung. Diane shares, I finally finished this really weird blend of Manx, alpaca, and silk, which I drum carded. It's the most matte finish yarn I've ever spun. Imagine soft burlap or flannel or buttery suede in yarn form. I love that. The braid is a companion of another fiber, which I believe is Falkland, in matching colors. So I'm going to spin similarly and then knit something interesting, I hope. Beautiful. So much fun. I love this yarn. I love what you did with this. I think it's just so much fun. Yeah, really, really neat. And that's the Falkland, the sort of partner skein, if you will, the partner braid. Really super fun. That tea leaf sweater is wonderful, Hannah. The Perry leaves. This is from Sue. My first successful dye pot, and she's actually since dyed some more in the Slack channel, and she's been playing around with this. Did a practice run, then tried the real thing. 2 done, 3 to go. Most things aren't that hard once you've done some research and get brave enough to have a go. It's so true, Sue. That's why it's called play. Then we aren't so attached to the outcomes, right? This is from Tracy. I love this yarn so much. I finished plying the first skein. I haven't done post-wash math, but pre was 396 yards, 89 grams, 14 wraps per inch. It's just absolutely beautiful. I can see it puffed up, but I'll be curious what I get when I check, and then I'll swatch. So this was a combo spin that Tracy was working on that we were discussing in Queries and Explorations virtual spin group, and she was trying to decide if she should ply a little bit just to see what the combo would come up looking like, or if she should spin it all and just sort of take a leap of faith that it would all work out. So in the end, she decided in group that she wanted to ply a little bit of it and see what she ended up with, and I think she's happy with this. It's just absolutely beautiful. With this combo spin, one of the reasons why it works so well is because there's a lot of coordinating color in it, but that brown that's in there, it just brings everything down, and it just calms it, and it makes it really overall, it kind of grounds it in a neutral, and so all those other colors are sort of just a little bit muted down just a little bit. So you get the purple and the green and the blue and the red, but it's not quite as vibrant as it would be if, say, it was white or another really bright neon. That brown, the dark, and the fact that it's a darker brown, it just brings everything down and makes it really calm. It works beautifully. Beautiful, Tracy. And finally, this is from Diana. I just love these colors. If you guys have followed me for any amount of time, you know that these are my favorite colors. I made some gold inspired row legs on my blending board and liked the results. So I tried to replicate it and made 6 more. The second and third skeins in the final photo are the results. They're close, but a little too much orange. Beautiful. And this, I think this was the original skein that she made. I loved this skein so much. And photographed against that hand-woven, I think it's hand-woven, that towel underneath with the blues and the creams. And of course, it's a complement, so it just makes that yellow sing. Gorgeous. Love that combo spin. The combo spin is a win. Gorgeous. Hannah's sweater is gorgeous. Yes. It looks like Samantha bought a Louette Erica. Haven't woven since she was 10, so she's so excited. Awesome. Can't wait to hear about it, Samantha, that's awesome. I always call you Sam because one of my best friends is Samantha, is Sam. And her mom calls her Samantha, but everybody else calls her Sam, and she's always been Sam to me. And so as soon as I see Samantha, I immediately say Sam. So I try to catch myself as much as possible. And I do tend to shorten people's names, which it is sometimes not a good thing, because some people don't want their names shortened. Like if somebody introduces themselves as Elizabeth, they probably don't want to be called Liz or Beth. So I try to be aware of it, but I grew up in a family of nicknames. So we always had tons and tons of nicknames. My dad would nickname everybody. Our names were always shortened. I was never Rachel. I was always Rach. So it just kind of goes against my grain a little bit. Oh, good, Samantha. Okay, good. I'll just call you Sam then, because it's like, it's so much easier for me. And my friend Sam is one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. So there you go. It's a compliment. I hope you guys have an absolutely amazing week ahead of you, and just a wonderful weekend. We have some things coming up in the community this week. We've got... No, actually we don't. We've got Queries and Explorations next Saturday because we added an extra session for July with us being off-grid in August. And our next Maker Mornings are going to be on August 12th and August 19th. So mark those on your calendar. And everybody in the community is invited to join. If you're a patron of the show, you're invited to join the Maker Morning. The one that we had this past Thursday morning was wonderful. It was great. And I have it uploaded. I don't think I actually posted the link in the Slack channel, though. I'm sorry about that. So if you would like to have a watch, please go ahead and have a look. And I think that's everything. So there is, yeah, I think that's it. So I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you, everybody, and have a lots and lots of spinning. I hope that you all get on your spindles and get going with Spindle Spun Summer. We've got some really great prizes to give out in late September, early October. And until next time, happy spinning, happy weaving, happy all the things. Bye, everyone.